Rucoy has been out for like 6-7 years now. I've been playing since 2016 and up until last year, Rucoy was just about the same. I mean, sure, we had that one big map update, but overall, we could all pretty much agree Rucoy really didn't have that much going for itself. When you think about it, Ricardo was absent for a long time. But then once he got members like Ruby and Scara involved, then things really started ramping up. After all, we have a town 2 now. I know a lot of my OGs, you guys don't remember when there was literally only one town. But I'm there. What is this video gonna be about? Why is this a 90-minute Rucoy video? That's probably what you're wondering first and foremost. I mean, unless I upload it with a title that's pretty self-explanatory. But that's probably not gonna happen, because what are the odds that one phrase will be able to encapsulate the whole 90 minutes worth of what this video is intended to be about? I'm actually extremely not off put, but what's the word? I don't want to fucking do this. But I figured that I would. It's kind of like a level 300 special. And not only that, I think that longer form Rucoy videos like this, PvE, I think people actually enjoy having these types of videos playing in the background. So yeah, let me know. If you're just watching this Rucoy video in the background while you do whatever you do, do you guys appreciate this type of Rucoy content? I think I'm like one of the only people that genuinely speaks or does voiceovers on their content. Anyway, back to the first topic. Rucoy is changing. And sure, in any video game, this is inevitable. But a lot of people are mad about it because Ricardo is the developer. He's adding a lot of elements that weren't here for the first 5 years or 6 years of the game. And so it is actually fair to say that it's unfair to add these elements now. Like, for example, the Void Belt. It blocks you from gaining experience. Personally, I've had a lot of tiny OP accounts, and debasing by letting yourself XP rip, letting mobs kill you so that you lose XP, debasing, like staying low, trying not to get KS'd so that you don't gain XP, like we did that for years, and it was so tedious. And now for Ricardo to just provide us with a way to counter it, of course we're grateful to have it, so now we don't have to do all that tumultuous menial like XP ripping and then regaining the little bit of stats that you lost off XP ripping. Like, of course it's great that we can avoid that, but I do understand the sentiment of whales or OGs, or even just people who have been training their tiny OP for the past 3 years. It is kind of unfair. Another aspect that's being added is a paywall. Now, there's always been a strange thing about diamonds. Diamonds in the past, I bet you guys can recall when they costed 5k, 7k a diamond. I bet you can recall when they costed 10k. Can you remember 11 and 12? Well, now diamonds usually go for 17. That's the price that you'll find lowest casually. Typically, you can find some 16.5s. You're not finding 16s anymore. Anyway, the problem with Rucoy right now, currently, is the disconnect. Ricardo doesn't seem to understand that the player-driven economy versus his idea of what the economy should be, way different. And he needs to also understand that it's up to him to really fix it. You see, the problem is that Ricardo is one person who has the power to fix it, while the whole community is full of upwards of like 10,000 players, 7,000 players, and we're all in a bunch of different servers, and there's absolutely no way that we're all going to come together and ever be reasonable. Now, you may say that it's not that bad, but look at the supplies merchant. Go to the supplies merchant. I mean the support merchant. Go to the support merchant in Town 1. Now, look at all the things he has offered. Now, go look at the average price of a diamond, which is 17K. It doesn't make any sense. And now you're starting to see, it's starting to click, that everything is extremely overpriced or extremely underpriced. And the only things that really have value are the things that are driven by a real life black market of people who buy and sell accounts in gold and diamonds. Your game is literally like we're on some fucking Silk Road e-commerce. I feel like every day that I go into the Rucoy market, I'm dealing with a bunch of Logan Pauls running their own version of Crypto Zoo. Here's how off it is. You spend $1 on Rucoy and you can get 100 diamonds. For a level 50 to farm the value of 1.7 million gold, it would legit take them like an entire fucking month. I just don't understand. You really gotta go to the market yourself and see, and then start crunching the numbers and being like, oh fuck. Because the value of a diamond to Rick is actually less than the value of a Town 2 scroll. Anyway, that's enough of that. I don't want to start off an extravaganza video or a special video or just talking down on Ricardo. If you look back at the old videos on my channel, I used to do that back in like the first couple of months. There would always be some bullshit that happened on Apex Legends. I thought I was like J Miles or what that guy Waters here. As you guys can see, I'm in a duo ice raid, and you're probably wondering, who the heck is Jetbox? And why is your guild chat so lit? That's right, I'm in a guild that's recruiting. So if you are 150 plus stat and you want to join a guild, come join Elves. The plan is to start hosting events and doing guild wars, that type of stuff. But overall, at the end of the day, we got a Discord server with a stat calculator, and that's valuable enough for you to want to join. So yeah, join us for our stat calculator, even if you already have one. I don't know, I'm just fucking around trying to recruit members. At the end of the day, though, yes, I am indeed in a guild. And so earlier, when I returned to Rucoy, I had posed this question. I was like, should I stay Tiny OP or base up? And for a long time, I decided I was going to stay Tiny OP. And even now, in my decision, I'm still indecisive. But I think I'm going to gradually base up as I train. So you guys are going to see me at level 400 soon, probably. Not 400, 375 or 400. Just once I get my melee to 400, I'm not even going to stress it. Like, I won't mind basing up a little bit. I want to be able to feel that power. I'm hitting for 3k on dragons. Well, actually, I'm hitting like 2.9 on dragons. Anyway, enough about me. Fucking Rucoy. Wow, what an amazing game. Do you guys play MMORPGs? What's the best MMORPG out there? And if you say RuneScape, oh, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you real, real good. You know how much I hate Charlie. Anyway, I guess it's time for me to start talking about Rucoy. Like I said, I've been playing since 2016. The biggest draw for me to MMORPGs in general is that, oh, Kliffy, he's always been so susceptible to fantasies. Basically, your boy wanna get hit by a truck. I'm trying to get isekai'd, you know what I mean? In the next life, your boy's gonna be a boundless Mao. But in this desolate rock, on this desolate rock that we call Gaia, Earth, devoid of any magic, I guess the MMORPGs will have to suffice. And so, I'm compelled by lifelong games such as MMORPGs. You know, it's just nice to be able to train in real life. You can work out, go to the gym, and get stronger. But that concept isn't in every game. A lot of games are skill-based in the sense that they are high-octane, and you have to put in a lot of time in order to learn the mechanics, learn maps, and learn characters' abilities. That sorts of thing. But in an MMORPG, your goal is actually to learn more so what you want to do. Learn what in the game is fun to you. Now, while Rucoy don't got fishing, it does have training, and that's one thing that I really appreciate. Being able to get my stats up. It's an XP based game, and so you kill a mob and you gain experience points. It works on a tick system, so when I hit something, I get an XP point from hitting it. Up to 4. You can damage more than 4 mobs at a time. You can damage as many as you can hit with the radius of your attack. But you can only gain 4 experience points at a time without bonuses, and there's 2 bonuses that can be applied: your stamina bonus and your online training bonus. That will allow you to get, I believe, a tick rate of 7 or 8. Now, you see how you gain experience, and overall, there's different ways you can do it. Training is the best way to gain experience. But as far as your base level experience, you want to farm. You want to kill as many as you can. I don't care about having a high level. I care about having high stats. I made so many accounts, and to be 100% honest, my first account, it was a horrible account. Even my second account was horrible. But eventually I learned, and I started to keep my stats above my base level. In the past, I was indeed inspired by a mini Rucoy YouTuber, Raider Knight particularly. Oh, a wonderful time indeed. I was a low, but I thought I was so strong, so tiny OP. Rest in peace to the OGs, Bubble Boy, By the Sea, Tyrants, anyone that was in UPS, your Spurge. The original AKT, the Akatskis, the original AKT. Rest in peace, a moment of silence for our brothers fallen. Now, the best way to get into Rucoy, but one of the saddest ways to also get into Rucoy, is with a group of friends or family. You'll meet a lot of duos in Rucoy of brothers. One time I met triplets. They were so cool. I love those fuckers. If you look at my past streams, you'll know who I'm talking about for sure. Currently, I know one set of brothers, Eins and Eins, my old leaders of the overlords of Nazarick Guild. And that's another thing. I love anime, isekai, the idea of going to another world. I said I was compelled by fantasy. But you can meet other people in Rucoy who are also weebs. It's almost like Twitch in a way. You know how we break Twitch into the W or L community and then the POG community? You got your IRL streamers and your edgy motherfuckers. Basically, that's how Rucoy is. You got your IRL. I would say those are the people who work a job and they play Rucoy. Intense. They play every day or every other day and they train and they're good at the game. And they don't really cause trouble in world chat. But then you got the edgelords, most of them, you'll see they have a fake name of someone else. They got too much extra time on their hands, and especially with it being summer, it's way worse. It's so funny because I said it's way worse. And we all know that Wei is the ringleader of those losers. You got, Wei, you've had so many redemption arcs. So many times where I've been like, hey, I think Wei's changing. He's changing for the better. And then he just goes back on it. You see him in chat all the time. It's just so funny. You got the weebs. Most of them have some type of Japanese style name or anime style name. They're in the anime guild, like Shin Oni and the Upper Six, or me, straight up Kami D Kliffy. There's a top guild called The Mofos, and it's legit just a bunch of high level accounts, like pound for pound base. And they aren't like leaderboard, but they are pretty high base, and they're just Jujutsu Kaisen characters' names, like the Mofo Gojo, the Mofo Megumi, for example. It's all types of stuff like that. Rucoy, quite fun on that level. If you play Rucoy and you don't know about the Rucoy Online official website, then you're probably thinking, what the fuck is this game? Why is there nothing like in-game? Why is there no leaderboard in-game or like a place where I can view guilds in-game? Yeah, Ricardo was one of those lazy devs who was too poor to afford to have in-game leaderboards and that type of stuff, because that would require a more in-depth connection to servers, I believe. If we're going to constantly have our data being recorded, it would require that we're constantly tapped into the servers or something of this sort. I don't know. I really have no clue how any of that works. But it seems like it would be easier to run it on a website, like a third party. You even see that on your Xbox or your PlayStation or your PC, like say games like Fortnite or Apex Legends. There are third-party sites that somehow they just track your information. And it's usually a couple hours inaccurate, but it does get updated to become accurate. Especially if you were to stop playing the game, then it would just catch up. That really does make you start to question your privacy. But at the end of the day, like, we're all willing to take the leap of faith and let these people access our information so that we could have a little fun in our leisurely time. That's what I've been trying to say this whole time, though very distracted. The reason why I'm called to play Rucoy is because in your free time, you can idle Rucoy. I love that it's a mobile MMORPG. Of course, people are playing on their PCs because they're lame losers that emulate mobile games on PC. I'm just kidding. I don't really care if you're playing on PC. But yeah, of course people are playing on PC, but those people probably have it on mobile. You can idle some games. There's a genre of game called idle games. And idle means that you can sit by and the game is kind of playing itself. So think of Clash of Clans or literally AFK Arena. It's where you don't have to be too tapped in to play the game. You know, Angry Birds isn't an idle game because you have to pull back the slingshot and shoot the bird, and each level you're immersed in the level. But something like Rucoy, the good thing about an MMO is, while yes, Rucoy is idle, I can make it active. Like, I can go do PvP instead of train, which is PvE, player versus player, player versus everyone. And so when I do PvP, I can be tapped in for 2 hours, just running around, killing people, fighting people, having fun. Or I could sit there for 2 hours and watch a movie and not even really look at my phone while I'm training my stats, gain some stats, say, hey, that was a pretty trash movie, Quantum Mania there. It's a good thing I waited to watch it on Disney Plus and didn't go waste my money at the movie theater. Honestly, it's just like that. That's really one of the primary reasons why I've stayed with Rucoy for so many years, because it's such an obvious lifelong game. You've heard Moist Critical probably. Wait, no, you fucking haven't. But he did this video about RuneScape recently where he logged like 4,000 hours, or he finally maxed out one of his stats, and he describes it as torture. It's like an 8-bit game and you're just staring at a tiny little tick rate going up. And honestly, he's so right. These types of games, why are we playing 2D pixelated MMOs? Literally, I had this friend, Ochi, you guys might remember. It was literally on stream one time. She was talking about how when she went to sleep from having had trained like strenuous hours out of the day, she was having dreams or seeing like visions of her Rucoy character. It was weird. It's just so funny because the same thing happens. I know all of you gamers can relate that, like, you can play a bunch of games, but your main game, the one that you play all the time, sometimes you just be closing your eyes and you're just playing, you're just seeing it, and it's not even necessarily fake, but it's not even necessarily a recollection. The thing is, if it was fake, you would literally be like going off, like you would be popping off. Fucking, for me, it was Apex Legends, and I'm actually really above the trash bin. You know what I mean? In Apex, it was pretty obvious that I could handle myself, and so I would, even in my own visions, my own dreams, when I closed my eyes, like, I wasn't popping off like I was fucking Timmy. Of course, there were times when I would do good, but you could tell that it's so weird and real, because, like, it seems that if it was a mere dream from the subconscious, you would literally be doing your best. Like, you would be the best in the game, hitting every shot. But in reality, it's literally just like you opening up a door, looting on the ground, and walking out the building. And nothing even special was happening. Anyway, Rucoy is one of those games that you can play for years, and you could play hours out of the day without having to give it too much. And it's just nice. It's like a child, in a sense. It's like a pet, but it's not alive. The oddest thing is your interactions with other people in Rucoy. If Rucoy was a solo game, I highly doubt that there would be as many level 500s. I think most people would top off their stat at around 400 and quit if it was solo. But The fact that it's not solo is what drives it. It's a massive multiplayer online role-playing game. What role do you play in Rucoy? I guess that's one thing to talk about, the multiple roles. There's guild leaders. Most guild leaders stand upright and they try to maintain peace. They don't want their guild members being killed. Logs are a thing, and so on the website it tells you who killed who. It tells you when they killed them. It also tells you in guild chat. Guild leaders have a lot of responsibility. Oh lordy lord, I've been a guild leader multiple times. And I know the type of stuff that I ask for from my guild leaders. So it's a role indeed, but is it a role coveted by many? Not necessarily. Another role would be like counsel or support. It's basically elder or co-leader. Yeah, they help out. A lot of them are like basically Reddit mods. They're power hungry. But some of them are actually willing to help you, you know. But we always have those egotistical Discord mobs that think because they're a council member that they should be mongering over the ones that are lower than them. Inevitable. You have leaderboard. Leaderboard is one of my favorite roles. Honestly, I'm not on leaderboard. You can be on leaderboard. Every year you have a chance to be on leaderboard. There's a reset. There's a filter on the site. And so there's a leaderboard for every year. And the 2016 is the one that we usually go by. But 2024, when it resets, everyone's going to have a race, you know? Everyone wants to be number one on the leaderboard. And so you have a chance. Why even try it, though? It doesn't really make much sense, especially if you already have an account that's like at 400 stat. Why would you restart just to be a leaderboard on the 2024 filter of the Rucoy online website? I don't know. It just sounds so silly to me. But yeah, most people on leaderboard are recognized in-game. That's pretty epic. Yeah, so NA4, we got Nub PvPer and Moo. Those are pretty much our only leaderboards. I know a lot of people just got disrespected. Oh, you got people like the NA members, and really, people don't just sit in one server most of the time. Especially the BDJL and SND boys. They really love to be hopping. But I can't really think of 700s for us right now. Oh, Lamborghini. Fuck it, I'm not giving shout-outs to a bunch of leaderboards. We're just talking about the role. Yeah, it's a pretty good role to have, but it's hard to maintain. Those people are putting in 12 hours plus a day. Or they were so high that they don't even have to worry about falling right now. Some lesser and more typical roles are your Knight class. It's a defense-based class, melee-based, and so you have to be right in front of your enemy. You got no range, but the defense is one upside. You can tank during a PvE raid. So if you got a mob trapped in a corner, or if you found a cubby, Sweden, you know, we call them different names, but a cubby is a one tile wide, couple tiles deep place where you can go hide with your distance, and then a melee plugs the hole in the front, and it allows low levels to leech XP off things like golems or ice dragon or regular dragon. Anyway, the next role is distance, your archer class. These wannabe elf motherfuckers are always running around with their dist and their weird electric radiant bows. Really, if you're a dist main, I don't even like you anymore. Dist is lame. Why would you ever pick distance over magic? It just never made sense to me. So dist is speed based, and you don't get to control where your special goes, but it targets 4 around you, shoots 4 arrows at one time. Honestly, you have your speed, which is good, but your defense is low. And honestly, this is just not that good in my opinion. It's good for PvE, it's good for farming, but it's really just not, like, you don't see anyone dissed in a demon raid. You don't see anyone really dissed unless they're farming. So, we'll go ahead and say that if you're dissed, then you're probably a low. Anyway, the next class is the most magnificent class and the upper echelon of Rucoy players. The mage class. Mystics. That's what the title is. Mystic. Indeed. I mean this, obviously. You can tell from how I'm talking about it. It ain't the best class in the game because, in truth, there's more roles that I must discuss. You see, why would anyone pick a single class and train that alone? That's called being monobrid. That's a role. Monobrid, you're dumb. Why would you ever do that? Such a fool. Now you're gonna have to sell your account when you hit level 500 and you realize that your 300 melee is leaving you at a disadvantage in PvP when you have to switch and your melee isn't even dealing damage, but their melee is doing 1,000 damage to you. And so that's why I try to tell them, hybrid, you need to be a hybrid. That's a different role. I'm gonna stop saying that's a different role because at this point you fucking get it. When I say a different term, it's obviously a different role, okay? Alright. Hybrid, that's 2 stats. I recommend you do not go distant dist, range and range. I do not recommend that you take this advice as, oh, I need to go a range. Because that's funny as fuck, but bruh, what are you doing with your life? I'm literally trying to recommend that you use melee along with one of the ranged options. It makes absolutely no sense to go range, but it would be extremely funny. You can go tribrid though, and that is one thing that will ensure your defense is as high as possible. Of course, tribrid AFK is better than tribrid PT, but tribrid PT is the fastest way to excel in Rucoy. And I would recommend it for people who are willing to spend the time. But really, hybrid is perfectly fine. You don't need a third stat when you have 2. More roles? I can't really think of any more roles than that. Oh, merchants. Oh, goodness gracious, I almost forgot. This is one of the biggest aspects of Rucoy that made me stay for so long. The economy. In the beginning, I was talking about how, it's run by the players, and Rick doesn't understand how. So basically, everyone has the capability to pick up an item and sell it in their shop. Your shop is literally just on your character. You click it, you can put items in your shop and sell them. Now, a lot of you just put 2 and 2 together, and you said, well, that means that there's probably a bunch of scams being run in this game. And that's absolutely right. Of course there's a bunch of scammers. You just have to be able to value your gold enough to do enough research and find out what the price of something actually ought to be. which isn't very hard because there's so many people that you can click on. It's basically just cross analyzing, cross referencing. So if there's 10 people there, 3 people are selling this item that I want. I'll click on all 3 and I'll say, well, what's the average? One of them selling it for $1 million, but 2 of them are selling it for 25K. Then I understand that the one who's selling it for $1 million is obviously the one who understands the actual value of it, and I'll buy from the one who's selling for $1 million. Okay, if you couldn't see the joke or the sarcasm, you're obviously getting scammed by the one who's selling it for $1 million if everyone else is selling it for 25K. I don't know what else I can tell you. Like, you just gotta look out for the scams. But merching is actually a legitimate role that you can play. Because most people are power hungry. But we've seen those isekai where the main character wasn't OP, but in his past life he was like the head of a company, and so now he understands commerce, and he's spawned in and he's living in luxury because this place has a market that's like fucking medieval, and he can take advantage of the fact that they don't have his capitalistic philosophies. And so now you understand what I'm saying. One could hypothetically, from level 1, ascend to the upper echelon of Rucoy wealth and become an Elon Musk of sorts from level 1. Now, you would probably need something to start with. Like, say you have an alt account and you farmed, that's like level 150. You could get, hypothetically, a couple million gold a day from farming vampires or farming dro. Or a couple 100,000, and then that's when you buy your item and you just start reselling from there. Flip it all the way up. Just like Dwight Schrute in The Office, whenever they had that trading thing. What you want to do is always trade up, and never ever trade down in value unless you're 100% positive that the item you traded down for is a better deal that you can flip for more return in the future. Yes, this is the road of the merchant, the gospel of wealth. I know it well. As upon squandering my vast amounts of wealth, I may now rest content in my vagabond stature. Basically, I'm fine with being poor because I know how to get rich. Speaking of 100 million gold being lost, oh lordy lord, it's time. The time of reckoning. Just like my predecessor Raider Knight fessed up to his crimes in the past, I have to also tell you guys about scamming. I'm going to give you guys the scammer's guide. Now, I'm not a scammer anymore, but I did scam one person before. Oh, and did I score? But I'm gonna give you guys the scammer's guide so that you can counter any scammers. Here's one of the most basic scams that you can run. I've done this one live on stream to show you guys, and it literally worked. You sell items of the same value, so you get a bunch of the same thing. Let's talk about some vampire keys. Keys to the vampire dungeon. You have 7 of them. You sell 6 of them for 35,000. But the 7th one you sell for 350,000. And then the person, they're quickly trying to buy them all so that they can resell them. And then they click the 350 and they buy that one. Oh, this is a devious scam. Oh, this one comes up in everyone's mind. Like, even people who thought they would never be a scammer have thought of this one and or even done it. And I won't hold you accountable for this one because this one isn't really scamming. It's deceptive and it's dirty. But the thing is, you can always argue that that person that bought it should have been fully aware that this is a thing that occurs. And not only that, they should have been more meticulous and more protective or distrusting. You can never have something that seems too good. And you can tell that they were so eager and greedy to buy what you had on display for a good price because they just clicked on it. And it was, I've done it to get 16 million. I did 100 diamonds for 16 million one time, one stream. You can go back and find the stream. Lit, I'm on that. Oh yeah, I'm Shiesty. Call me Shiesty, that's my dog. But Diamond, you know I'm really Shiesty. God damn it, I hate fucking Post Shiesty. I don't listen to that man. I don't really hate him though. I don't have no reason to hate him, except for him being a bad boy. That is a bad role model for the black youth. Do you guys want to know something amazing about Rucoy? We have practically no interaction with our developers. And that's right. Ricardo is radio silent. But that doesn't mean that we aren't getting updates. You never really know with Rucoy, and that's one of the most wonderful aspects of it. It's just like an artist. Ricardo is like a musician. When he working on some heat, he ain't gonna let nobody know. And when it's time to drop that heat, you gonna know when you know. Just like all these recent updates, nobody knew we were going to get some online training, auto power training. Nobody knew we were getting offline training. Nobody knew that we was finna get some new cosmetics. We didn't know there was going to be a Clyde, an Easter event. We thought that the next event was going to be Halloween because Ricardo never ever gives us Easters. And shit, if you did expect an Easter event, you didn't expect Ricardo to finally implement something of the sorts of an annual reward that if you didn't get it, then you're shit out of luck unless you can find someone willing to sell theirs. But really, that means that there's a limited amount, especially if he never does this event again. I really want Ricardo to do that a lot more often. And I want him to do it on, like, it doesn't have to be a holiday. There's a lot of games that just do that type of thing. MMORPGs all the time. It's like, well, we had this event where they opened up a new zone that was temporary. And then there was a boss that would spawn there. There was, like, some mobs that could spawn there. And they would drop a specific type of loot. Every once in a while, the boss was summoned to the overworld, and now we have to go fight the boss. But the boss drops you a gift that is only from this boss. You know, it could be like a cool cosmetic sword. But Rick, how he did it with the bunny bosses for the night class, it was a cool cosmetic shield. I mean, I'm not even about to say it was cool. It looks like fucking shit. It's literally an Easter egg. But it's funny because it's event themed, so yeah, cool. And I appreciate the thought. That's dope. The only ones that got something cool were legitimately the mage and maybe the elf. I think the elf got like a carrot for the quiver. But I know mage, you got familiar. It's a little white bunny. And honestly, that white bunny is dope as fuck. I put it on my alt account, so this one doesn't have it, but this one has a fox, so I don't really mind not having the little white bunny. But that type of stuff is awesome, and that's what Rick needs to start incorporating. And he also needs to understand that it doesn't have to be holiday events only. Like, why has Rick always had this mentality that in the literal made up world he created, he has to fucking be aligned with the real world's holidays. I don't know. Does anyone agree? This idea overall, though, no one can deny that this is a dope idea, because literally other MMORPGs have been doing it for years. One thing that I've always found odd about the Rucoy niche is the traffic that we get. It's almost impossible for me to genuinely tell what is it that you guys want. I mean, I get lots of support from the Rucoy community, at least from the people that are fond of me or appreciate my content. Like, some people openly will acknowledge and tell me, like, bro, you're pretty much the only fucking person that's actually making content and talks. It's weird. It's like, why is it that no other Rucoy creators are using their voice or their face in their content? And it's not even about, I'm not saying it from the point of like content creation, what's going to be lucrative. It's like, at some point you have to realize the Rucoy niche is not that big. You're not going to become a millionaire. You're not even going to get 50,000 followers from Rucoy. It's impossible. There's not 50,000 views a day for Rucoy. Well, there are nowadays, but you get what I'm trying to say. And so why? Like, you can tell, obviously, that the only reason I'm uploading Rucoy content is because I enjoy Rucoy. At this point, it doesn't even really score me that many views, and I'm putting all types of other content in between my Rucoy uploads. And so it's like, most other people have to have that mentality too, but why is there some type of issue? I mean, of course, the cynic in me is like, oh, it's just esteem, and they have low self-esteem. They don't want to be shown on camera. They don't want people to hear their voice. They just don't want their image out there like that. But I said that's the cynic in me, because the reality of it is, if we acknowledge that Rucoy isn't big, and Rucoy isn't going to make us popular, then why are you sitting here hiding? This should be like the perfect training ground, or the perfect place for you to feel comfortable. It's so niche. I even just said that with like almost 100% confidence that no one is going to be listening 47 minutes into the video unless they're doing what I mentioned earlier, watching this video in the background, or they skipped through the video. And it's not pessimism. It's literally just, I mean, it's awareness. It's good to be self-aware. Could you imagine if I wanted to be a serious YouTuber, if I was taking this channel 100% seriously, but I was only doing Rucoy content? I mean, it would just be kind of hard for anyone to look at that and see me as someone who's actually trying to grow. Especially if I'm never going to put my voice on a single video or my face in a single video. I don't know. I'm not like trying to upstand the rest of the community, because I'm low-key saying that there literally is no rest of the community. I've literally tried to collab with so many creators and they don't even exist. It's like, hey bro, when are we going to do that collab? And they're like, hey, not no time soon. And you can say, hey, I'm busy with life, but motherfucker, you're on for hours out of the day, and it takes us 7 minutes, 12 minutes to record a video. What the fuck are you talking about? You're too busy. It just goes to show that there's not really much as far as this goes. Yet here I am. And as I said, I only do this because I enjoy it. Rucoy is quite the masterfully crafted game. The map is one of the biggest calling points. In a video like this, it's a shame that instead of going on a tour of the map and showing you every crevice of Rucoy, I went to my favorite region and just farmed there for 2 hours. Also, we didn't get a single drop. Anyway, so when you are alive, you become familiar with things. We have nostalgia, we have deja vu, memory, just remembering things in general. It is indeed an odd phenomenon, the human conscious, how we recollect the past. And so it even applies, just like how we were talking about closing your eyes and having visions that may or may not be real, but they are at least realistic. You can have something similar with video games. Nostalgia kicks in. You see, there's something about video games that simulates reality. As a matter of fact, many games are called simulators. And at the bare minimum, you can understand that the video game provides you with a domain. It gives you a space that you can explore habitually and become familiar with. Especially an MMORPG. One of the biggest calls to an MMORPG is the massive multiplayer online aspect, and you can't have that without a massive open world to explore. Rucoy's map is humongous, and not only that, it's layered. There are 4 layers to the Rucoy map. The first layer has Town 1, and it has rats on it, along with Town 2, and many other places. For example, the third and second layers, well, actually, there's a vampire layer on each floor, now that I think about it, and there's a drow layer on each floor. Basically, there's places that are overlapping, and so there's secret passageways that you can run about. Actually, you've seen us explore them in the video. If you haven't by now, then eventually you're going to see me show this Jetbox person. I'm actually going to wind up showing him 3 of Rucoy's most famous secret passageways, and you'll see in the chat that I text him about another famous passageway. Well, it's not really famous, they're just the only secret passageways. And they really are convenient as fuck because, as I said, it was layered. It's a secret passageway in the sense that there's a staircase or something to where you don't have to run all the way around now, and you can just use this hidden staircase, this hidden sewer. Anyway, while that is an aspect of Rucoy that I appreciate, I was talking about the nostalgic aspect. And to put it simply, times that you are just chilling. It's like when you play Skyrim. There's those videos that you'll see nowadays, shorts of people who were just so immersed in Skyrim, and then they show themselves like it's almost VR, but it's really just them like overlaid into the VR, and they're just looking around, and it looks so surreal. Like you can see like almost the aurora borealis in the sky. You can see just off over the edge of a mountain, like a nice valley with a bunch of like dark oak pine trees. You know, it just looks so real. But in Rucoy, you can achieve something similar just based on the time spent in certain places. And so there's a lot of places that have like an ocean. They have a bay. And usually when you walk by water in Rucoy, well, for me, whenever I walk by the water, it triggers something in me. It's like the nostalgia kicks in. It's not really that solemn or somber. It's kind of just happy. Because, I start to reminisce of the old times. Like 2016, I was literally in middle school. So of course, when I go back to a zone that's for low levels, or that I never ever go to because I have no reason to, I'm far beyond that level, and I don't want to kill any of those low level bosses. Once I go there, it just reminds me it all comes back in a abrupt surge. I'm going to have a YouTube short that summarizes this by just a couple of pictures. And so, what I'm trying to articulate now, I know that it went right over your head. And it was reminiscent of those times when it doesn't click. Cliff Dog. This is Town 2. If you've never seen Town 2, then I guess you ain't missing out on much. You would think Town 2 has a lot more people in it, but Town 2 is usually a ghost town. Except for a couple of merchants vending Town 1 scrolls. Sometimes Town 2 is lit though, and that's when there's a lot of skulls there. I love Town 2 because it's like a hub in a way. North of Town 2, you go ice. And west of Town 2, you get to Liz, and you get to Minnow, and you get to go back to Town 1. But south of Town 2, now that's where hell is. And that's weird, isn't it? Isn't that really weird? Because Ricardo deadass put hell south of Town 2. And I'm just now noticing it. Like, that's, it's really, theologically inclined. You know, they say that hell is, south. The demons exist south. And it's just really funny because south of Town 2 is legit dragons, golems. Then you get to the gates of hell, Orth. And then you legit go to hell, and that's where demons is. And then east of Town 2 is the Dungeon Forest. The Djinn Forest. I don't know why, but I just have a habit of saying Dinjin. Like, it's not Dinjin, it's Djinn. Genies, the original thing is Djinn. It's like, a little spirit that grants your wishes, or the little malicious spirit that you have to trap inside of a pot or a kettle. Yeah, that's a Djinn, and it's a Djinn Forest because the dead eyes are there and Djinn are there. And then if you go through the forest, there's this ruins, a big building with a spiral in it. And then you can go to Garg from there. Yep. There's a dungeon in there too. Garg has 2 floors.